Hey, you know what? Today I feel like watching a nice video. Let me see, what have we got here? The Casual Criminalist. Ooh, yeah, I kind of like that. Oh, wait. Oh, it's Salmon Whistler. Never mind. Another one. Into the Shadows. Oh, that sounds just right up my alley. Oh, wait, it's Salmon Whistler again. Mega Projects. Look at that. It's like planes and shit. Oh, wait, it's Salmon Whistler again. Of course, I know he has like top 10s. That was one of the... How many channels does this guy have? I need to know. I need a number here. We need a number. Let's investigate. Brain Blaze. Wait. Brain Blaze. Today I found out. Into the Shadows. Decoding the Unknown. The Casual Criminalist. Top 10s. XPLRD. Mega Projects. Side Projects. Biographics. Geographics. Warfronts. Highlight History. 13. Holy mother of Skyrim. Decoding the Unknown. This is not him, right? This is not him, right? There you go. Boom. Simon Test channel. What do you need to test, mate? What do you need to test? Celestium? Places? It's not even a complete list. Places. You just name a channel Places. Celestium. So it's at least 15, guys. At least, but at this point, I'm saying that's not the full number. That's not the full number. It's at least 15. At least 15. Anyways, I picked one. From Decoding the Unknown, was there an advanced civilization before our own? Ooh. He is tackling, ladies and gentlemen, I think, Graham Hancock's ideas, right? Well, let's see what he thinks. Let's see. Well, no, sorry. What am I talking about? This is Simon Whistler we're talking about. Let's see what his scriptwriter thinks.
So to Decoding the Unknown, this one written by Matt, read by me. I've never read it before. We're going to explore it together.
This is an answer. I swear, I found it by chance. But this is an answer to every single one of you who's like a fanboy. And whenever I say, guys, you do understand, he doesn't have a clue or whether or not what he's saying is right or not. He's just a face. He just reads. And people are like, no, but you know, you can't. Yeah, well, you just said it. Not even that. I have to be real. I'm going to be real. I actually thought he read it first. Like, I thought he would, like, read through it, see if he had questions, maybe type and then do it. Maybe practice it a bit. No. This one, literally reading it onto the camera, hasn't got a flying clue whether or not it's complete utter nonsense or if it's like well researched. He hasn't got a clue. All right, cool. Well, that's that.
Is there an advanced civilization before our own? I don't think so. I feel like we'd definitely know about that, wouldn't we? But maybe we don't. Let's find out.
See, I'm not convinced by Mr. Hancock's ideas. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I find it fascinating. It's intriguing, but I'm not convinced. And yet, even though I did spend quite a bit of time actually looking into it, still, it puzzles me that you just tell us what you think about something you have never even looked into. Do you think that? I don't think so. Based on what? It's the first time you read the sentence. Good luck decoding the unknown. Well, it is about the unknown.
For as long as humans have gazed up at the starry night sky, one maddeningly simple question has continued to plague us. Are we alone in the universe, or is it possible that somewhere out there in that inky black void, someone or something is looking back at us,
so it's going
wondering
alien.
the exact same thing?
Okay.
I think it's very, very likely, because the universe is really, really big. And what are the odds that we are the only ones? I mean, I don't believe in aliens, as everyone knows. I don't think they've come here. I don't think the Roswell, anything like that I think is nonsense. But do I think there are aliens out there? Almost certainly, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So basically he just said, I can tell that this is the part he's not reading. This is the part where he's sharing his opinion, and it makes zero sense. He said he doesn't believe in aliens, but he absolutely certainly believes there are aliens out there. Love it.
I don't believe in aliens, but do I think there are aliens out there? Almost certainly, yeah. I don't believe in aliens. Certainly, yeah. I don't believe in aliens.
Man, I love it when we get like logical consistency. I know he means visiting, but I'm pedantic. What you want from me?
Yes. Surely, given the sheer number of galaxies in our universe and the amount of time that has passed since the Big Bang, our planet can't be the only one supporting life. To believe so at this point would be, in my opinion, because it is highly probable that at least a handful of planets somewhere out there are capable of hosting complex life. Many scientists agree with this opinion. However, a question that is much more contentious is whether any of these organisms possess intelligence and technology that could rival that of our own. I'm talking about beings who are capable of thinking critically, sharing ideas, utilizing tools, growing and harvesting food, advancing medicine, harnessing power, constructing communications networks, and so on. At first I was like, tools, okay, well, crows can do tools, but it's like, yeah, making communication networks, okay, so big brains, real big. And crows are smart, but not like us. Or maybe they are, who knows, maybe they're just waiting for their time. For reasons other than satisfying our own curiosity, we could open a dialogue with this civilization, share our collective knowledges with one another to expand our understanding of evolution, society, and the universe as a whole. Yeah, more likely. More likely.
It actually bugs me that he went through the misspoken part, like a part where he actually mispronounced and just let it in. It's a little bit of a perfectionist in me, but whenever I do my readings, because I also have sometimes written a paragraph and maybe I'll put a nice B-roll because I don't feel like, I like the way it's written and maybe that day I don't feel like memorizing. Sometimes I do. But if it's one of those days when I don't feel like it, I just read it. But if I up, I will do take 2.
Is this going to be like some Christopher Columbus where it's like the aliens come and it's like, hey guys, how's it going? And then we get all their diseases and they destroy us to make room for some sort of intergalactic highway or something.
Yeah, that would be a big problem. Although then again, if they have completely different biology than ours, it's also very likely that their viruses wouldn't know what to do with us. Maybe.
Could finally know if what happened on Earth, the formation of complex life, was just a fluke of nature, or perhaps there is a Star Wars-like galaxy out there with all varieties of intelligent creatures roaming about. I prefer a Star Trek-like galaxy. This is a topic that scientists and stoners alike have brought up time and time again, but there is another possibility that is...
Why does he have a book saying sex? Not that there is anything wrong with it, but I'm just trying to figure out what the connection is. Because this is a choice. This is a setup, right? The lighting is well done. I'll give him that. We can see a little bit of the background. These pictures have been placed at. The table is mostly empty, but we can see the cup here, which makes it feel like, ooh, this is a murder mystery. It's a mysterious thing. We can sip the cup and whatnot. But why is there a book saying sex? Is there like a psychological reason that guys will watch this and then feel automatically like a connection to our reward system, thinking, oh, I need to keep watching? If that's the case, you have to double check whether the amount of female versus male, because if it's females that are the majority watching you, you should put a minotaur here. Subscribe.
Equally as fascinating, yet talked about far less. Could another advanced civilization have existed right here on Earth, and we, as a species, have simply forgotten about it? While the idea may seem ludicrous at first, because we like to believe that human advancement has been largely linear, it's not as outlandish as you might think. According to the best estimates, modern humans have been...
So that's the other thing. When it's an opinionated topic, it makes even less sense to write someone else's words. Because right now, clearly, whoever wrote this, he's telling us what he thinks. He's telling us, well, it might not be as crazy as you might think, but he just said that he doesn't believe in it. So isn't that crazy? Like, he just, even if you want to be charitable and not pedantic like me when it comes to the beginning, when he said, I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe in aliens. Okay, he meant he believes there might be aliens, but he doesn't believe in this stereotypical image of an alien, meaning the greys or the reptilians or the whites, whatever the heck type of alien you like, and then he doesn't believe that they have come to Earth and done the things like Illuminati and all that kind of stuff, UFO. Okay, fine, but then it's weird that you are reading in the text now that you are reading, oh, it's not as outlandish as you may think. Then it's not as outlandish as I may think he should have read it.
Around for about 200,000 years, throughout which time according to the best estimates, modern humans have been around for about 200,000 years, throughout which time our ancestors' intelligence was similar, if not equal, to that of our own. Man, evolution is real slow. However, only about 5,000 of those years have been documented or discovered, which means that 97.5% of our history is completely unknown to us. Mm-hmm. That's wild, isn't it? Like, you think, oh yeah, pyramids and stuff, that was a really long time ago. Oh, that's like 2.5%. That's of history. Less, it's like 2%. Human history. Obviously, history of the universe, way bigger. But like, of humans. When considering this, is it really so hard to believe that humans may have attempted and succeeded?
Technically, the majority of it is not even history, because prehistory is before the ability to write it down.
To construct another civilization long ago that failed and has since been forgotten. I mean, Kinda, yeah. Because while we only have like 97.5% of our history is unknown, there's like fossils. Like, you know, you go out in the countryside, there's like fossils of like trilobites, dinosaurs from a long, long time ago. I feel like we'd know.
Is that right that Candace Owens doesn't believe in dinosaurs? That's what I heard.
It'd be like, oh yeah, look, there's fossils of like buildings and or spaceships from like our previous advanced civilization, but nothing's ever been found like that.
Does he even know what a fossil is? Because he just asked for a fossil of a building.
As anyone who's ever cooked a pancake can tell you, getting things right on the first attempt is extraordinarily difficult, so who's to say that launching a society from nothing would go any smoother the first time around? What is it with the first pancake? Because Matt's absolutely right. Whenever I make pancakes, typically I make pancakes on Sundays for my family, and we all enjoy pancakes together, which is nice.
Very nice.
And the first one is always wrong. And normally I cook 3 pancakes at once in the big pan, but the first one I always pour out and then cook and then flip over, and it's always like either not cooked right or it's a bit burned or something like that, because the first one is always screwed up, and then all of the others are fine. And then I always end up snacking on that kind of semi-burnt first one while I cook the others. And then when I actually go to eat the others, I'm not so hungry because I've snacked on this nasty pancake. In future, I'm just going to throw it straight in the bin. I don't know why I don't do that. It's something I do with my kids' leftover dinner. Like, I'll get home from work and there'll be some leftover dinner, and I'm like, I could snack on that. What I do? Throw it in the bin, because otherwise I will snack on it, and that's bad. Furthermore, there is another possibility to consider. Who says that humans were the first intelligent creatures to evolve on Earth in the first place? If we return to discussing numbers for a moment, our planet's about 4.5 billion years old, which means that modern humans didn't exist for approximately 99.996% of our planet's history. Right. I remember that 0.004%. 97.5% we don't know about. Crazy times.
Well, we do know about some of it because of geological studies. It's not that we don't know about it, but yeah.
Such an incomprehensively large amount of time, could another intelligent species have evolved and gone extinct before humans were even walking upright? Could another society as advanced or more advanced as our own have existed? A civilization whose cities...
So we're already outside the spectrum of what Hancock says, because he doesn't say that they were more advanced than us. Although then again, I'm still not... First, he doesn't speak about aliens as far as I understand. So I thought that this was about that, but apparently it's not. It's a different one. It's either the aliens, maybe, or if it's not aliens, in this case, it's talking about actual humans, but they may have reached heights that are even higher than ours. It is a beautiful setting for a sci-fi movie or game. But what I would fail to understand about that is why we do have proof that the Stone Age happened, and yet everything like this, we found nothing.
Once stood where ours now stands, but have long since turned to untraceable dust. Today we'll be looking at these two very different but very related possibilities as we try to determine if we are truly living at the pinnacle of evolutionary advancement, or if those that walked the earth before us could have built societies that make our vast cities look like little more than piles of stone by comparison. And don't worry, even though this intro may sound like something pulled straight from the History Channel, I like that the History Channel is... The History Channel is so bad and so not about history that it's just a meme at this point.
I think they changed it into just history, right? But yeah, History Channel is absolutely a meme. Freaking hate it.
We'll be referencing scientific studies that have attempted to answer this very question. Good, because that's what we do here at Decoding the Unknown. We're very skeptical. We need proof. Setting the stage. To start us off, I'd like to begin by discussing the far more likely of the two scenarios posed. Could humans have successfully established themselves sometime before the earliest identified civilizations, those in Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, and ancient India? To answer this, however, we need to first back up and provide some context for how and why those civilizations arose in the first place.
The writer does write well. I want to compliment the writer, whether or not I agree with it or not. It's probably a bit superficial due to the fact that I don't know what kind of time restraint he gets. Like, you need to get it done by Tuesday. It is what it is, right? I think some of my best videos took me months to prepare, and believe it or not, they're not my most successful because YouTube, right? I have to say, I like the way he writes. He has a nice writing style.
Also need to discuss what it means to be a civilization, because that is surprisingly not as straightforward as you might assume. According to most modern archaeologists, historians, and evolutionary scientists, humans primarily survived throughout their early existence as nomadic hunter-gatherers who followed closely behind packs of large herd animals, hunting them for meats and furs while foraging for nuts, berries, and other edibles as they went.
Actually, as far as I understand, I don't know most, but definitely there is a chunk of modern archaeologists that don't use the word civilization anymore, which I strongly disagree with, because I think it's an excellent word. I remember one of the proponents of the idea of, we shouldn't use it anymore, blah, Flint Dibble. So I will use it on purpose just to mess with him.
This was essential because prior to around the year 10,000 BC, few successful forms of agriculture had been developed, which meant that staying in one place for too long would have quickly depleted their available food supply. The reason no one had got around to developing agriculture prior to this was likely due to a little-known event called the Last Glacial Period, which is often colloquially referred to as Earth's last ice age. Beginning approximately 115,000 years ago, the Earth entered its last glacial period, and at one point, glaciers covered up to a third of the Earth's surface. Jesus Christ, and I complain when it's a few degrees below zero outside.
Same, mate. Exactly the same thing. Yeah, agriculture is a Neolithic invention. I would love to make a video about agriculture in the Neolithic period, the transition between the Mesolithic and the Neolithic. And it would get 9,000 views, get buried by the algorithm.
This would have made any type of real advancement difficult, as humans were far too preoccupied with keeping their gonads warm to consider alternative sources of food. They also likely did not develop any tools more advanced than those used by the Neanderthals, such as scrapers and hand axes. Plus, being a hunter-gatherer is a surprisingly good way to stay alive, so...
No, I disagree with that. Already, like the bows and arrows, for instance, are absolutely a Mesolithic invention, at least, that we can trace. Possibly even older than that. Spears, javelins of all sorts of different types. In fact, they were quite sophisticated already by then. I don't know why he's saying this.
There was little obvious incentive to disrupt the status quo. Yeah, I read that book. Is it Sapiens? Is Sapiens the book? Where the dude talks about, like, yeah, when people were hunting and gathering, life for most people was actually better because they ate more interesting food, they did all of this stuff, and then farms came along and everyone just had to work on the farm, like brutally long hours, and eat, like, boring foods and not spend much time, like, out in the forest having fun. And it's kind of like, yeah, but it did make life a lot better for a smaller percentage of people. And in my mind, I'm just like, yeah, I'd rather live in the present day and just work really...
What does that mean, though? Made life better for a small percentage of people? I'm not trying to be contrarian. I've agreed with quite a few things. But in fact, agriculture sustained population explosions. It's the other way around. It was a lot more difficult to grow our numbers when we were hunter-gatherers.
Hard to be in that smaller percentage of people. Because I love competition. However, as temperatures began to rise, the Earth began to change, and humans saw an opportunity to change with it. Now, despite all we know about the Earth, the cause and timeline of this temperature shift is still hotly debated in some circles. Most climate scientists believe that the change started around 20,000 years ago, when the Earth's orientation toward the sun shifted, causing the planet's global temperature to rise around 10 degrees over the course of 8,000 years. This in turn caused the large ice sheets that cover the northern hemisphere to melt, which caused the global sea level to rise by approximately 110 meters. Most experts believe this process was very gradual, but some think it was much more sudden, and we'll revisit that in just a moment. Are we going to talk about biblical floods? I feel like we could be talking about biblical floods, couldn't we? Like, that's a massive sea level rise. Yep. As I alluded to earlier, the catalyst for humanity's advancement from nomads to urbanites was a series of major improvements to early agriculture, which allowed people to finally stop roaming and establish themselves permanently in one place. This is what led to, sometime between 4000 and 3000 BC, the earliest known human civilizations forming in highly fertile areas that are now referred to as the cradle of civilization. Is this in highly fertile areas that are now referred to as the cradle of civilization? Is this I think is also in that Sapiens book. I feel like I'm reading the summary of the Sapiens book. I mean, that's probably because it's the only like big book I've read on like real ancient super history. Other than David's book, which I don't have here, but David wrote a book. David Baker. What's it called? The Complete History of the Universe? A Complete History of the Universe? I'm sorry, David. Butchering this.
I'm sorry.
After this, it didn't take long for the earliest economic systems to form, allowing people to trade and purchase services, form effective governments, divide labor into specialized sectors, and land on the moon. I may have missed a step or two along the way there, but you get the idea.
Specialized work, I think, was already a thing way before. Hunters were specialists, guards were specialists, tailors and craftsmen and all of that. I think we started specializing a lot earlier than that. It's just that new jobs were basically invented with the arrival of agriculture for obvious reasons.
Economic systems to form, allowing people to...
When it comes to the government, believe it or not, even though normally we think of tribes, and then, of course, from a tribe, we imagine a chief, and then the chief means that's kind of a predecessor to a king. The reality is, though, that it seems that in a lot of tribal societies, rather than having just the chieftain, sometimes this would transition into a primordial form of democracy, even before the concept of monarchy. So the idea is you would have a set of elders or a set of people, and they would, a bit like a form of pure democracy, a little closer to how it was in Greece rather than representative democracies. But that is a natural, Greece was not the only place, and it did function in conjunction with city-states even outside of Greece. Then some of these will eventually become monarchies. In fact, the majority will become monarchies. But it is interesting that democratic system, we often connect it to classical antiquity, but it's prehistoric.
And on the moon. I may have missed a step or two along the way there, but you get the idea. Agriculture truly changed the world. This is the type of society that I myself am talking about when I say civilization. A group of people living together in one place that are capable of governing, creating, discovering, maintaining order, and growing. Not a group that stayed in one place for a season or two and then moved on.
Yeah, nomadic.
Because of how important the advent of a reliable food supply was to jump-starting this process, most scientists assume that no civilization could have arisen without it, and state that evidence of such wide-scale farming would be obvious to anyone who looked. All they would need to do is search for high levels of nitrogen in the soil, or where those farms are suspected of being, the discovery of which would indicate widespread use of fertilizer. This, combined with the fact that no ruins of a prehistoric civilization have been discovered, has led most people to believe that we truly are the first to progress past hunter-gatherers in any meaningful way.
I think the second one is stronger. The lack of ruins is stronger. But then again, both, they are evidence of absence. But the only thing is that depending on how far back we go, the further back you go, the weaker it is as a form of evidence. Because time may erase that data that you're looking for. And that is one thing that kind of speaks in favor of the theories of Hancock, even though, once again, I'm not convinced. But time has to be considered. The further back you go, sure. We want to see a column. We want to see something, a building that doesn't look natural. And that's fine. If you don't find it 10,000 years ago, 15, 20, 50, 100,000 years ago, then it becomes problematic because stuff might be like, who knows, under how many thousands of feet. So, yeah.
However, there are people who vehemently reject this conclusion as unscientific. And the man leading that charge is named Graham Hancock.
There he is.
Okay, are we about to find out whether Graham Hancock is a real scientist, or is he one of these, internet scientists or, conspiracy scientists? Graham Hancock. Although he's known for many things, Graham Hancock is a writer, journalist, and independent archaeologist from Scotland. Independent archaeologist sounds already a bit pseudo-scientific, doesn't it? From Scotland, who in the early 1990s published multiple books that questioned the official historic timeline, supported by most modern archaeologists. In his early years, Graham worked for newspapers in the UK, such as The Times, The Independent, and The Guardian. They're highly respected newspapers right there. They're not tabloids. That's not like The Post or New York Post. What's it called? The celebrity one that's like gossip. Or we have is it the Daily Mirror, the one that is, or The Sport? It's kind of just made up. Where he published articles while living in Africa, exploring the world and conducting his own research into Earth's history. Whatever he is up to, it does sound pretty fun. More recently, he's...
Yeah, that's one thing that I respect of the man, even though I disagree with his points and positions. I do respect that the guy does do it. He goes. And he goes underwater, he travels, like he's done that for his life, his entire life almost. And that's something I can respect.
Devoted much of his time to speaking publicly and going on various podcasts to promote his theory that a prehistoric human civilization existed and ruled over the Earth during the last glacial period.
Right.
Sounds like sort of guest on Joe Rogan's podcast, doesn't he? Graham doesn't claim to be a scientist, but he does believe that his work is solid and states that the only reason his research has not been accepted by mainstream archaeology is because his theories would change the way we see the world by throwing a wrench into the entire accepted timeline. Yeah, but that's not how science works. Like, scientists are highly educated, and I assume the vast majority, if someone comes along and is like, have you thought about questioning this? They'll be like, oh, that's an interesting hypothesis. Let's do some research, because they're scientists. They're not like, I mean, I imagine there's some level of dogma, but
Yeah.
the whole scientific method and stuff is like a thing.
Yeah, but wake up, Simon, because wake up. Did you see what they post? The kind of political pandering and nonsense that they're pushing now. I'm not saying all scientists. I'm not being the anti-scientist. No, if anything, I'm very pro-science. But it has to be real science. Just because someone has a title, it doesn't mean that they can't be completely compromised, which is unfortunately often the case when it comes to a lot of universities with a lot of professors. Look at all the nonsense with the white supremacists and everything. Come on.
This is a timeline that Graham says archaeologists are obsessed with defending, to the point that they're not open to having their minds changed. Famously, archaeology is a very snobby field, so Graham's claim that archaeologists are unwelcoming to new ideas is based on reality. However, his critics claim that his theories are poorly researched, unsubstantiated, and heavily biased because of his tendency to cherry-pick evidence, misrepresent that evidence, and ignore everything that does not support his claims. Basically everything an objective scientist should not do. I mean, fine, let's say archaeology is snobby and all of the scientists are like that, but the fact is there's a lot of them. And some are going to be like, let's just look into this a little bit. And if there's anything to it, they'll join Mr. Hancock's side and be like, let's go. But they don't. Not a single one, it seems. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because there are also many...
It's so weird that he talks about things without investigating it, without seeing if there is not a single one, then you don't know. But it's not true that not a single one ever. And again, I feel like I'm being like devil's advocate in this case. But it's not true that not even a single archaeologist has ever sided with him.
Scientists who stand behind Graham. Okay, never mind.
There we go, exactly.
Because there are also many scientists who stand behind Graham. Okay, never mind. Maybe there are some archaeologists who are like, into this dude. Okay, fine.
Oh my gosh, literally, guys. This guy's clueless. Maybe this channel particularly so. But that's insane. Yeah, so he's giving opinions. And then, like, I mean, I guess that's the format he chose. He's very successful. Made a lot of money off of it. And people love it, right? How many views? 1.1 million, so who am I to judge? I mean, at the end of the day, right? People love this shit. People love it that he hasn't got a clue. And then correct himself, and maybe they find it funny with a little comedy music. I don't know if I can do more than 20 minutes, though, guys, because, I mean, it's intense for me.
Fine. So what exactly is Graham's theory? Graham believes that humans are a species with amnesia who have forgotten a major part of our history. Well, we haven't forgotten it necessarily, we've just not discovered it. Didn't we say that 97.5% of human history is just not known about?
Yeah.
Whether there is both logical and physical evidence of that history present all throughout the world and throughout all societies. Okay, be interesting to see what this is.
Please, go on.
According to...
I've never been a fan of little clip from movie. I always hated it. It feels so like 2010, dare I say 2012, doesn't it? I don't know. To me, it looks like a waste of time. Like I want to skip it.
To him, what archaeologists think of as the emergence of civilization was actually a re-emergence after a major cataclysmic event that wiped away almost all advancements made by humans over the centuries that preceded them. Okay, look, I'm keeping an open mind. I'm open to this, but I'm going to need something other than theory. Graham theorizes that this cataclysmic event was also what caused the end of the last ice age, and the climate shift that scientists claim occurred slowly over the course of 8,000 years actually took place in a matter of days, maybe hours. His theory for what caused this event revolves around a comet that may have impacted the Earth's northern hemisphere near Greenland sometime around 9,200 BC, causing widespread catastrophes, flooding the world, leveling entire civilizations, and killing the majority of life on Earth. This would include the megafauna such as the mammoths, mastodons, and saber-toothed tigers that roamed the Earth until around 10,000 BC. It was such a devastating event that all functioning societies virtually collapsed overnight, effectively sending humanity back to the Stone Age. Okay, fine. Seems reasonable so far. After this, it was up to the few remaining survivors of this ancient civilization to rebuild society from scratch. To do this, they spent the remainder of their lives traveling the world as nomads and sharing their knowledge with the surviving hunter-gatherer tribes, which Graham speculates would have fared much better throughout the apocalypse than the people who lived within his lost civilization. To be honest, I find this entire theory fascinating because if proven true, it would change the way that we view early human history. However, before we
So he's reading that. as well. To be honest, I feel that this entire theory, goodness gracious.
Examine the evidence Graham puts forth to support his theory, we should ask ourselves if the remarkably different timeline he proposes is even scientific. Okay, let's definitely look into that. So far, I'm with Matt. This sounds super interesting. If it's true, it would uproot everything, and so far my mind is still open. Is it possible? Considering that Graham's entire theory revolves around a comet impacting our planet and wiping out the majority of life on Earth, questioning whether such an event could have taken place is obviously the best place to start. And the answer to this question is, surprisingly, yes. Is that so surprising? Comets have hit the Earth and caused massive disasters. Isn't that what wiped out the dinosaurs? Like, big hit the planet and caused major problems. Several times throughout history. As it turns out, the comet impact theory, as the event in question is known, is supported by the Comet Research Group, a collection of 63 scientists from 55 universities in 16 countries. Among them are real doctors of science from Dartmouth, Harvard, Stanford, the University of Buckingham, Charles University in Prague, as well as others working for NASA, ORNL, and the Institute for Isotopes and Surface Chemistry. So all in all, a bunch of people with really big brains. In short, they are a serious and reputable group putting forth a theory that they believe is scientifically plausible. To summarize this theory, this group believes that a large comet impacted the Earth approximately 12,800 years ago, jump-starting the temperature changes seen around the world at that time and putting an end to the last glacial period. This would have occurred during a time known as the Younger Dryas, and their evidence for this impact is a distinct black mat that has been discovered at multiple potential impact sites. It's comprised of traces of magnetic iron-rich spherules, glassy silica-rich spherules, spherules? I assume tiny little sphere things, high-temperature melt glass, nanodiamonds, soot, and more, all of which, they say, is indicative of a very large, very hot impact. They used carbon dating to determine when this impact took place. Truthfully,
I'm sorry, I'm going to fall asleep. Well, what can I say? At the end of the day, I know that whenever I click a video of his, I'm not actually listening to him, am I? But never in my entire experience with Simon Whistler was that ever so evident as it was for this one. Yeah, anyways, what do you guys think? I don't watch the whole thing. Please go check out the video if you want. I'll put a link in the description. You can finish watching it and see what Simon's writer actually thinks, Matt, about the situation. But still, I am just puzzled by someone giving opinions about something he has never actually even looked into. That will never cease to surprise me, but what can I say? Thank you for watching. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.